Please welcome to the stage the one and only Snoop Dogg.
Right there. Thank you for doing this.
Squack-a-like.
I'm just doing my best not to check the Dodgers score. That's my... We just saw the teaser from the Olympics. I'm curious, how did the opportunity to do the Olympics come about, and how did you prepare for it?
I believe the prior Olympics, me and Kevin Hart, we was doing something where we had like a highlight show that was after the actual events, and it did well. And I believe the people at NBC was looking at, who I am and what I could do. So we had a conversation about moving into the actual Olympics and being there and physically showing up and, letting me be a part of the production as far as producing certain elements of the Olympics. And I think it went well, you know what I'm saying? Because we was trying to represent peace and love and just show what an American really looks like outside of politics.
You mentioned producing, were there particular segments that you produced? Like when you and Martha there are talking?
Oh yeah, that's every time you see me on screen, we was producing it.
Okay.
And NBC and the Olympics was willing to allow us to bring our flavor to the table and not try to keep us in a box and let us, season the meat.
Was there a sport that ended up being your big surprise, your favorite to watch?
Actually, fencing was fun to watch. I always loved swimming and gymnastics, but to see gymnastics up close and personal and to see how high they was jumping, and it's real intense.
I'm curious, you do the Olympics. I feel like I see you in a commercial every 5 minutes. When you started your career, right, there were a lot of people who thought gangster rap was bad for society. They were wrong, but we'll leave that aside. Did you ever think you'd become one of the most in-demand spokespeople for different companies in this country?
Yes and no. Yes, because I always believed in me and I always thought that if you give opportunity, we're gonna make the most of it. But no, because at the time when I was entering into the music industry, it was only certain things we could do. It was certain things that wasn't legal, that are legal now.
Do you feel, you're obviously joking a little bit, but do you feel like growing acceptance of weed has kind of smoothed the path for you and made you kind of more presentable for companies?
I think it's the medical side of it is being brought forward a lot. Usually when medical is the first word, then you have more understanding. Because I've had people in my family who dealt with cancer and certain, illnesses, and cannabis and THC has helped them, ease the pain and have a smooth transition. So it's like, and then I look at my career and look at me and look at what I look like. And I look at some people in the industry and what they look like. And maybe they do alcohol and this and that and the other, but I do weed and I look like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 31 years later.
You have a new album coming out, what, a month from now, give or take?
Yeah, new album is called Missionary.
What's the story behind it?
First album, well, me and Dr. Dre made an album in 1993 called Doggy Style. So if you flip the page, there's an...
This is your... when's the last time because he's a major producer on the album, right?
He's producing the whole album.
Whole album. When is the last time he did that with you?
1993 was the last time he produced the whole Snoop Dogg album. So this is sort of kind of a reunion, and it's a collaboration of two friends who genuinely love each other, and we know we're better together. It's like I can make good music, but when I'm with Dr. Dre, I make great music.
And give it up. How did you decide after all the time that you guys wanted to work together in that way again?
Me personally, he called me and was like, I want to do your record. I need 2 weeks. I'm like, I know this shit mean like 2 years.
Yeah. Every Dre album, you're waiting 5, 7 years for.
But in my mind, I made it up that I'm gonna go back to being Snoop Doggy Dogg. I wanna be the student, the kid, the passenger. I wanna humble myself and go in the studio with him and allow him to, you know, work on me and tell me what I need to do and produce me, and not me try to fight him and think that, oh, I'm a star now, I can tell you what I think is best for me. No, you discovered me. You seen me when I was a rock. You created this diamond, so I'm gonna allow you to shine it one more time.
You've worked with a lot of great producers over your career. I'm curious, how would you compare working with Dre to working with someone like Pharrell, you worked with on some albums about 20 years ago?
Well, when I work with Pharrell, me and Pharrell's relationship is more like friends. So when you're working with your friend, he's more easier to let me get away with things. You know, like, oh, that was dope. That was dope. Dr. Dre be like, nah, do that again. No, you said, it was too hard on your P's, huh? You were supposed to say player, you said player. Are you serious? Enunciation, pronunciation with Dr. Dre is everything. With Pharrell, he likes slang, he likes raw, he likes the uncut Snoop Dogg where it's not as polished. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, his threshold is to have the raw version of Snoop Dogg. Dre is to have the perfection version of Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I'm curious, you described with Pharrell it's like friends. It's not like that with Dre?
No, Dre is like big brother, like it's a different relationship. Like big brother and friend is two different things. Like your friend wouldn't say certain things to you because he's your friend. Your big brother don't give a
I've seen you talk a lot in the press about how you and a lot of artists say this, like they don't make that much money from streaming, right? That you make money from other ways, but you still chose to buy a record label. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a lot of emotional resonance for you with Death Row. I'm wondering, how did you make the decision to buy it? And now that you've had it for a little while, what are you planning to do with it?
The purchase was made solely to get my masters back initially. And then once I got my masters back, I started thinking about the other artists that was on the label and the legacy and the things that we created and how this was one of the most predominant black-owned hip-hop labels of the 90s. And I had a chance to get it back in my hands and to clean it up and to fix some things that was wrong and to put it in positions it never been in, to give it a global approach and to make it friendly and approachable and to make it, you know, lovable and likable and, you know, make people feel like Death Row is a nice place to be for making great music and not, you know, it sounds funny now because you think about the myth of you could get on Death Row. You can get your ass beat. You can get your jewelry took. All the negative stereotypes you could have was always there. Now it's like Death Row is happiness, it's fun, it's cool. And it's because of the things that I did as the owner and runs downhill from the top. So if you write from up top, everything else is gonna flow right. And the spirit of me is in my company, and everybody in my company is about peace, love, and pushing this label to a whole nother level.
How many employees do you have?
Probably about 35.
And they're mostly working on that, or they're working on all things Snoop?
They're working on Death Row only. Death Row for Death Row, but then I got management that handles Snoop Dogg as well. And then I got like me, myself, who is the Snoop Dogg machine. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So I have to thank myself sometimes because I'm the actual machine.
You know, one way artists such as yourself make a lot of money these days is touring. I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel like I don't see you doing sort of the big global tours that people like Michael Rapino are booking. When's the last time you went on a big tour?
It's records involved when it comes to big tours like that. You got to have a record.
Yeah.
I'm able to go on tour just because of the catalog that I have.
Yeah.
But this new record, Missionary, is going to put me in a position to probably have that final big stadium tour, because there's a lot of features on this record that, you know, I'm excited about, that are big name artists. I don't know if I can say it right now, but I'll say it anyway. It's my album. I got a feature from Jelly Roll and Sting, and Yeah, and I'm so happy that me and Sting got a record that's so good, and we hung out and we chilled. It's like a child that's infatuated with somebody as a singer, and you get a chance to meet them, and they give you everything that you expected. Like, that's what happens with me all the time. I meet people that I've always wanted to meet, and they're everything I wanted them to be. I don't meet assholes. I don't meet people that disappoint me. I meet people that always, you know, outwork the contract.
Who's someone you haven't met yet that you really want to meet?
Michael Jordan.
You haven't met Michael Jordan? Mm-mm. That seems crazy. You guys are both
right?
such icons of the 90s.
Mike, where you at?
But he can't be your favorite basketball player.
That's Magic Johnson.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure this is a Laker household.
You better know it.
Yeah.
In case you forgot, Dad is.
Yeah.
He follows me everywhere I go.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I have to ask how you feel about the Lakers this season.
I feel good about the Lakers. It's a family business, so, you know, I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. You brought up some collaboration, so I'm curious. I do want to test out one of we're doing polls during some of these conversations. We can ask the audience what they think. I hope I didn't screw this up, but which of these people do you think Snoop should collaborate with next? And I guess I should ask you after we get the results, because you'll just skew. And
I already know what they're going to say.
What do you think they're going to say?
SZA.
Why do you think they're going to say that?
Is she from the West? And she the and she don't need me?
I'll wait to see what the results are in a little bit, but I'm curious, you know, you look at your recent discography. You've released, I think, a Bollywood song, a reggae album, a gospel album. You've done a bunch of different genres. Is there any genre you haven't tried that is, because it feels like this next one you're doing is sort of back in your sweet spot.
Jazz. I did a jazz album that I haven't released yet. It's more or less like spoken word over jazz music. That was a genre that I've always wanted to go into. Quincy Jones hit me to Mr. Mumbles, Clark Terry, which was his teacher. And we had an opportunity to spend time with Mr. Terry, and we did a record together. And that was a genre that I always wanted to venture into, because I felt like I had a jazz voice. I felt like my spirit was like one of those jazz musicians from back in the day. So I dibbled and dabbled into that.
So your role in a jazz album is just your singing?
No, I'm spoken word.
Or sorry.
My voice, my conversation, my poetry, you know.
Flowetry. I think
exactly.
You're right. SZA's got the win, but it's close. Bad Bunny and Sabrina Carpenter.
Bad Bunny, my homie in real life, though, so they already know that that's an easy collaboration. And then.
But he's not on the new album.
No. I didn't go to Latina.
If you met someone who had never heard your music before, where would you tell them to start?
It depends on how old are they.
I'm assuming the only type of person who'd never heard your music before is probably under 18.
No, I got kids' music, Doggyland, #1 albums right now.
And a kid's show, right?
I have a song called Affirmations, right? It's a song that we created, and they teach this song in different elementary schools around the whole world. Before the school starts, the students sing this song about affirmation. So I got records that reach a demographic of babies, because I have grandkids and they wasn't paying attention to me. So I have.
Okay, so is there a demographic you feel like that doesn't know you then? How are you doing with the 75 plus?
Martha, you mean Martha Stewart's homegirl? We got this thing covered, we don't trip.
I want to ask you a core hip hop question. So I saw an interview earlier this year where Tyler, the Creator, was talking. And he was kind of upset because he felt like every rapper right now sounds the same. And that when he was coming up, everyone had a different sound. When you were coming up, there were a bunch of different sounds. Do you agree with that? Like, where do you think hip hop's at right now?
It's about to reset. And the whole music industry is about to reset itself. It usually happens like that, you know. Repetition, breakthrough, originality, we back on again.
Yeah.
That's what the music industry is about. You know, right now, talent is not at the foreground, but talent will be put back into the foreground.
Why do you feel like talent's not?
Because it's so easy to make music. You can go Instagram, Snapchat, this, that, 15 seconds of fame. I'm a star, I'm this, I'm that. I got followers, I got likes. Them motherfuckers ain't following you. But you know, you got that philosophy that you can be a star. When I came up, you had to have conversation. You had to have showmanship. You had to have, you had to rap through the microphone. Like, not play the song and rap over the song. You had to, like, I want to hear you just like I heard you on the record. I need to hear you on stage, and I believe that element has been taken out, but it will be, reinstated.
Yeah. Who do you have people coming up who you feel like will be a part of that?
There's a lot of people making great music right now, and they should be, commended, but there's so many to name, and a lot of times the bad rap is always the ones who don't do it right, but there are people who are doing it correctly, and the music industry is going to continue to, be diversified, and it's going to continue to reach different parts of the world. I didn't think hip-hop would be in Africa, Japan, and Turkey, and India, but it's there, and it's loved and it's respected, so it's going to continue to grow.
I'll ask you one more West Coast question, since I know the answer. Where did you land on the Kendrick Drake beef?
Where did I land?
Yeah. What did you make of it?
I was in the sky smoking weed. That's where I landed, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, when grown men have, situations as another grown man, it's your job to get out their way and let them handle their business, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they both my nephews, so whatever misunderstanding or disagreement that they have, I'm pretty sure they could get an understanding without Uncle Snoop getting involved.
Okay. I got to finish where we started. So you did the Olympics. I've heard you talk over the years about your desire to be part of the broadcast booth for a Super Bowl because you're a huge football fan. Did you take a moment in Paris to talk to the NBC folks and put in a pitch for the Super Bowl?
Let him get that call real quick. You good? Nah, my grandmother always told me, let your work speak for you. Like, so it shouldn't be about me having to converse and talk to nobody. My work speaks for me. Like, I think that when I'm in front of the microphone, no matter what sport it is, whatever the event is, I'm gonna give you something you've never seen before. I'm gonna say things in an appropriate manner. I know how to clean things up in broadcast. If you see the Olympics was rated G.
Yeah, it was great.
It was rated G, and I was able to keep it G the whole way. And that was one of the main concerns that I'm pretty sure that NBC had. I hope this don't say that on TV. And I kept it, you know what I'm saying?
They trusted you enough to put you on broadcast. I feel like they put Alex Cooper on the online stream. They did.
It's gravy though, because my mother told me, you know what I'm saying, when you get opportunities, son, make the most of it, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah. Well, Snoop, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it. That shit was dope.